sitting here listening to this Christmas music, this New Year's Eve music, Starbucks music. Anyway, hopefully audio and video is good. We're good to go. Right now, I can't believe it's only it says 17% chance of rain. I can't believe it's only 17% chance because it's very, very cloudy. Looks like it's going to rain. 79% humidity, 81 degrees, high at 87, low of 77. The feel like temperature is 87. The air quality is 55, which is moderate. And here's a bit of a downer, sorry. 32.90 baht to the dollar. Good morning everybody. Sawatdee Cup. 32.9. Anything under 33 is not good in my book. Because you're not gonna, even if it's 33, you're not gonna get 33. You might get 33 making a transfer, and then they're gonna take their fees, so you don't really get 33. But when it gets under that, it just goes down and down. You keep losing. It's like, before it was almost 34 to the dollar, so 34,000 baht to $1,000. And, if it's 32.9, you just lost 1,100 baht for nothing. Good, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. It's, I hate to say it's a lazy way of doing things, but sometimes I think people, it's better sometimes I don't talk. I just show what's up, and that's it. There'll be other ones, so keep watching. There's lots of stuff coming up. Like I've been saying for a while, there is a trip coming up, and I was talking to my wife. It looks like we may go together. We may go to Chiang Mai. Well, not we may go. It's either we're gonna go or I'm gonna go. And so sometime at the end of this month, I'll be going to Chiang Mai, and I'll be doing a trek I'll go trekking, and also I'll do some rafting, and then I'll do another day of rafting, as long as I can handle it physically, but I should be able to. So that should be good. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be, like I said, the last week of this month. And all this talk about the tourism and everything, no offense, but I'm glad for the Thais. I'm happy for the Thais. They can start making some money again. I'm happy that the people like, you guys get to come in. The people who want to come from Oz and from the United States, they want to come to Thailand. Okay, I'm happy for that. But I'm not happy for the drones, the masses of Chinese and Russians and Germans and drunks, whatever nationality they may be. And that's why I don't hang out in tourist areas most of the time. I went to Pattaya, and I'll tell you what, I'll reiterate this. I will state this once again. When I went to Tree Town, the first night I didn't stream. And we went only for, let me think here, we had a couple of beers. And I was amazed I'm like going, God, I used to be involved in this kind of scene, but like mostly in Bangkok, but I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I don't care about this shit, But so when you're out for a piece of ass and you're out to have fun and get drunk, there's a big difference between when you're not. So, I'm sure some people, they've already gone through it. They know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was the one place where there was a lot of people. And I guess, I don't know how many were tourists and how many were locals and, you know. But I like Jomtien better, and I don't think I'll be going back there for a little while. At least a few months. I got a couple things I need to talk to people about, but over there. But other than that, so Chiang Mai will be, you know, listen, I'm not going to be in the city. If I am, it'll be for a day, and then I'm out of there. I'll be in the woods. I'll be roughing it. So I'm looking forward to that, and that should be coming up soon. I want to give a big shout out to, let's see here. I want to give a big shout out to who? All right, let's start here. CJ Digital Life, GoGoHopping.com, JRD 8526, Nicholas Warner, Mark Stoke, Paul, Richard Gallagher, Raymond Suon, Mark Loveridge, John S., Malcolm C., Propellerhead 2000, Patty Bobby, how you doing, Bobby? Senior Bob, Senior Roberto, Two Minds, Mr. Allen 137, Corey H., Tim Mays, Johnny Siam, Mindy Corrigan, Corcoran, Mike Clinton, Charles Allison, Charles Akana Lee, Tony 7682, Henry McIver, LH, Jim Urardi, and of course we can't forget Steve K. It's been a while since Steve's been in, but a couple weeks ago he did send a message saying what's up. Thank you there, JRD. Cheers, appreciate that. Let's see who else. I gotta give some of these. We got Mr. David J, Ralph Stewart, Carlos, Mr. Longhorns, Mr. Elaine, and also John and Dimitri. And there are others, but I'll do those tomorrow. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you would be so kind, please leave the thumbs up. That does not cost you a penny, or a baht or a satang or whatever. Leave a thumbs up. That'd be great. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like I said, last month was the second best month from the whole time that I've been streaming. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Overall, it was the second month. The Rap God does not get a shout out. I'm sorry. No shout out for the Rap God. All right. If anything, a shout out to the place where we get to the Naklua market, seafood market, where we got the lobster and the crab and we had all that good seafood. A shout out to them. A shout out to Sarni's for having great coffee and, Starbucks here. Today we have the manager working, Mr. Ken, and we also have Tian working. Apparently she's not leaving yet, which is good. So yeah, that's about it for that. If you want to help support the channel, please do so. You guys are the ones who make all the trips possible. If you want to see more trips and more streaming from where I'm not sitting here, throw me a buck or two. Become a member down below. Use the CASHAPP, use the PayPal, whatever it might be. That's how you help, or just keep watching. So, all right. Now, I saw something this morning about the two-tier pricing system in Thailand. I think most people, they understand that this is something that has been prevalent here for many, many years. Ever since I came here. I mean, I'd say probably since foreigners have started coming here, it's been They've had 2 tiers or multi-tiers or whatever. Yeah, you got 21 people watching. Don't be lazy. Just go over there and click that. Smash it. The thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. Laziness gets you nowhere. Rather visit beaches, parks with waterfalls, islands, than sitting in a bar. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with going to a bar. I understand it. I mean, you know, Longhorns and I had a beer. I had a beer. He had 3. You know, he drinks a little more easily than I do. I just kind of sip it. But it was good. But there's nothing like, you know, you go out scuba diving, you go out fishing, you go out, you know, you're hanging out with your family or whatever, and you're going around to the waterfalls and into the jungle, and then you go, listen, I need a beer. You go in the little pub down the street, you have a beer, and even if there are girls there, yeah, you just say, hey, honey, how you doing? Have your beer, and you get out of there. For me, that's great. I think they're making a big mistake not opening the bars, but hopefully by the middle of this month they will open them up. But I did see this thing here. It's on BangkokJack.com, the website. There are 2 articles. One is why racism and dual pricing is normal for Thai people. The other is time to scrap the racist 2-tier pricing system in Thailand. Now, I gotta say that it's never rubbed me the right way. And I have been here with a nice amount of money. I've been here traveling, and I had plenty of money. I didn't have to worry about it, didn't have to think about it. I was pissing away money left and right. And then I've been here, you know, on the cheap. And either way, it rubs me the wrong way. I'll never forget being in Phuket, and I had went up and bought some gayang, some barbecue chicken, and some sticky rice. And it was like, altogether, it was like 40 baht for like the sticky rice and the chicken, 2 pieces of chicken or whatever. And that was the price. Then I see some other foreigner come up, and she's like trying to charge him like 100 baht. And I'm like, that's, you know, I understand it's negotiation, but like, Jesus Christ. And then what really irks me is that this is an institutionalized pricing system. You know, it's one thing if a guy goes, hey, listen, this guy's a knucklehead, I'm going to charge him more money. That's bad enough. Okay, it happens. You negotiate. It happens all over the world. But when the government is saying you're going to pay 500 baht and the Thais pay nothing, where you're going to go into a hospital and you're going to pay 50,000 because you got money, and the Thais don't have money. Listen, Thais have money. Don't let them fool you. Thais have money. Now, granted, there are a large number, just like anywhere else in the world, who don't have a lot of money. I'm not sitting on $500,000, okay? I don't have that kind of money. I'm not a millionaire, and most Thais are not. Most Thais are not sitting on 1 million baht. But you know what? There are a fair amount of them that are. They have money. They can afford to pay a little bit into the system. And then what gets me is that now they're talking about at the beginning of the year, you're going to have to pay money just to get into the country. You know, you got to pay the what's the fee called? I don't even remember now. And so it's like, okay, you say that all this money is going to this and to that, and we're gonna spend money in this, we're gonna spend money in that. But then what happens is you know where it goes. The bare minimum goes to where it's supposed to go, and the rest of it gets shuffled around. Of course, this is just me guessing. It gets shuffled around from the pot to the government officials. You know, the big cheese gets the most amount of money. It's just like the mafia. It's exactly how it works. It's like the mafia. The big guy up top gets the biggest cut, and then it's the trickle down. It trickles down, and you know, okay, it's not their country, but guess what? Then when you go into, what I've always said is, then if somebody Thai comes into my country, I don't care if they're living there or they're visiting, and I say, listen, I got a car here, I'm gonna sell it, or I got a stereo system. The stereo's $1,000. Oh, but you're Thai? Oh, guess what? It's 5,000. And you know the car's 5,000. Oh, sorry, it's 20,000. You know. How does that sound? Oh, but that's America. Yeah, well, maybe in America we're too goddamn nice. I mean, okay, you wanna make a case for the Thais to be able to charge, and I understand that in some areas of the United States they are charging. For instance, in schools, if you're not a resident, you have to pay more. Okay, I understand. But if you really wanna make it an institutionalized system, then make it all the way. Okay, listen, if you do it to us, we're going to do it to you. And all the countries that come here as tourists can say, okay, well, when the Thai people come in, they're going to have to pay a fee. Everybody else doesn't have to pay a fee, but they have to pay a fee, and see how they like it. I can tell you that when I was walking around in Pattaya the other day, one or two times maybe when I was streaming, but when I was not streaming, I heard some people, I heard women say, oh, that farang, that. And I was like, hey, honey, I'm not farang. I'm not a piece of fruit. You know, and I've said that for a long time. You know, I'm a foreigner, I'm not a falan. And this is something they grow up with. And I mean, you know, my kids, I dare say they probably never use that word in Thai. And my wife, she may use it, but for the most part, she uses kontang chat. And I think that once they're not going to change anything until they change the way that people are taught growing up, because you are always different than them. But and this is the difference between Thailand and, say, the United States. The difference is in the United States, it's an amalgamation of nationalities. It's a melting pot. And here in Thailand, although it is still a melting pot, not nearly as much as in the U.S., but they differentiate. Oh, look, that's Malaysian, darker skin. Oh, they're from the south, darker skin. Oh, from Cambodia, look at them. Oh, from Myanmar. And, you know, so it's not just us. And I don't know what anybody can do about it. And the way that I look at it is, if I absolutely have to pay, like if I'm going with a group of people, like my family or something like that, I will gladly do what I have to do just so I can go with my family or my family and friends or whatever. If it means paying more, I'll do it once in a while. But if I'm going with one or two people, like foreigners, I'll go, you know what, I don't want to go to this place. I'll give it a pass. You go to Khao-sok, you got to pay the park fee. Now, what am I going to do? My whole family wants to go to Khao-sok. They don't have to pay. That's what sucks so much. For me, the way I look at it is, my family gets to go in it. Oh, they're Thai. Even though my kids are part American. And when I go, you know, I got to pay the Western price. And so I will do it. But I don't particularly like it. And yeah, what are you talking about, me so hungry? They don't want us traveling. I don't believe this has anything to do with people not wanting us to travel. This system's been in place for probably as long as I've been alive. In Asia, this is the way things are done. In Myanmar, you're a nanginchala. In Japan, what are you, gaijin? What's guilo in Chinese? In Cambodia, you're a barang, not a falan, but a barang. I forgot what you are. A bule? Is that what you are in Indonesia? I think. So this is something that takes place all over. It's not only in Asia, but I think it's probably more prevalent in Asia as a whole than any other region. I'm trying to think. Good morning, Carlos. Good morning. Good morning. I'm trying to think of that, but the bottom line is, I should ask Carlos this. Carlos, I don't think you're cheap, and I know I'm not cheap. I'm careful and frugal or whatever, but when it comes to, like, if you go with your family who is Thai, considered Thai, right? Your daughter's considered Thai, your wife is Thai, obviously, and you go to, say, a national park, and you have to pay 10 times more, what do you think about that? And it's there, and the word is not. If you're going to use the word, Steve, don't use an L. That's not correct. I hate to tell you that. If you look at the spelling in Thai, it's with a ra rua, which is an R. They do that because of the lazy way they speak, because of their dialect or whatever. But really, to speak proper Thai, I believe it is farang. It's not farang. It's not falan, even though they may speak that. But if you notice who's speaking that, that's all I'm going to say. It's blatantly rude. I think when they started it, they started it really with one thought in mind. And that is, Thai people are poor. We have no money. This is our country. These people coming in are rich. They have money. They need to pay more because, we don't have money and they do, and this is a way that we need to make money. Thais are very good at getting money out of nothing, from nothing. They're very pragmatic. They don't give a shit what people think, what they, when it comes to making money, one of the reasons why the police are actually lenient with some people is because they know that they have families and that they're trying to support them and that life is hard. For some of these people, it's very, very hard. And one of the things I was thinking about the other day is that one reason to be careful when you go into, say, a relationship, and it could be with a bar girl, it could be with some chick that you meet in Starbucks, in an office, wherever it is, until you really know their background, you need to understand that maybe their life is much, much harder than they let on to. They may be smiling and they may seem okay, but they might be totally messed up. They might have had a horrible childhood, and you don't know that. And especially if you don't speak the language, you may not find that out. So, you need to be careful. Be careful going in. That's all I got to say. And I hear this all the time, and I see this shit about, I don't have enough money. I got $2,500, and I don't have enough money to live off of, and I'm single, but I got a girlfriend. Then you're doing something wrong. You're playing it all wrong, man. You're playing it all wrong. This system makes it hard. I don't know. But I notice once people know you're living here speaking the language with a Thai family, they tend to treat you almost the same as a Thai, but you will always be a farang. Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, fella. I appreciate it. Thank you. You are the first of the day. A big choke D to you. Keep them coming. Show the love. Show the support. I appreciate it. I gotta at least, I don't expect to have as good a month this month as last month, but it would be nice to see that the trend continues in a positive way, because that motivates me, to be honest. It does. Money is a motivator, you know. I had said that I may be getting this GoPro. Patia Bob showed me this DJI camera, and I need to really take it's a new DJI Action, I think it's called the Action Cam 2 or something like that. And I'm gonna check that out and check the comparisons out. There's a few things I like about the camera that he has, but I'm unsure of a few things. And the first thing is to get over to Chiang Mai to be able to do all the things I want to do. The next step is the camera and everything. So hopefully I can do them both. But if not, it'll come eventually. It's not a problem. But, you know, yeah, don't ever forget you will always be a foreigner. Most of the time, I would say that once you're in, you're in. And, you know, I live a very sheltered life, to be honest. You know, I live in my little area, as does, say, Jono, and probably Carlos as well. And even Billy, when, you know, he stays in his little area. He doesn't tend to go out all that much and go all these different places. So in my area alone, I feel extremely comfortable. I mean, I feel comfortable here, but very seldom do I feel uncomfortable in Thailand. I just don't get into that position. Like the ladies at Naklua, they let me take over the kitchen, had a blast watching me cook and showing them how to make things a different way. Crazy for cook. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the thing. And, you know, I really do believe that, you know, had you gone into a kitchen somewhere like in America, maybe they let you do that, maybe they wouldn't. But here in Thailand, you know, the people make the place. I went outside today, and I look out and I see somebody cutting my tree in the front of the house. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, what is going on here? And I see it's the lady from across the street. Mr. Mitch, how you doing? How you doing? And I see this lady. She's the lady who used to have the Quintio shop, the chicken lady, as we call her. And she's sawing down the tree in front of my house, big palm tree. And then she told me, and I was like, you know, first I'm like, God damn it, I wish she'd at least ask, you know. And then I thought about it. The tree is like into the electrical wires. Now, I still would have appreciated that she asked, but she came over there. She's chopping it down because the thing is all through the electrical wires. The electrical company should have done it when they were out last, and they didn't. But she was doing it, and I thought, you know what? She's always looking out for us. I'm not gonna say like, you know, next time you should ask. Nah, you know, she's trying to be friendly. She's trying to be helpful. Sometimes she pushes it a little bit, but you know, what are you gonna do? So. These things happen. Anyway, but, you know, getting back to this whole two-tiered pricing thing, I'm going to read the first article that these editorials by Albert Jack. Why racism and dual pricing is normal for Thai people. If you've been living in Thailand for any length of time, chances are you have come across dual pricing. I think you see that if you're a tourist, you're going to see it. If you're a tourist at least once, you're going to see it. This is the practice of charging foreigners different prices for the same item or service that the Thais pay. In Thailand, this presents itself as different prices for Thais and foreigners, while the issue never crosses most people's minds. It can make foreigners feel angry or taken advantage of. You got the Christmas tree up. Tien, Tien, Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas. I got my Santa Claus beard. I'm working on it. There are even websites devoted to this phenomenon. One popular site, Two Price Thailand, advocates for abolishing the dual price system and teaches foreigners Thai numbers so that they can better know when they are entering a place that employs a dual pricing system, whether overtly or covertly. The admin of the site says the dual pricing system is hurting the image of both the tourism industry and Thailand itself. Thai people are internationally known for their kind and generous hospitality. That is very true. One thing that I think the dual pricing does is it causes bad feelings. It causes people to go, well, that's, screwed up. The action of a few tourist attractions are damaging that reputation. We respectfully request a transparent pricing system in Thailand. What I don't get is that supposedly they're charging extra for foreigners to come into the Thailand, or they're going to. They charge a departure tax. They charge all these fees, and yet it is supposed to go to help their country. Well, I mean, even when you go into a bathroom, this is how what I liken it to. You go into a bathroom here in Thailand. Now, sometimes they'll be free. You go into a bathroom at a gas station, pump station. It's going to be free. But you go in and you go into the mall, it's free. But you go into over there in Happy Land, it's either 3 baht or 5 baht. In some cases, it's 10 or 20 baht, depending on the quality of the toilet. Now, the ones that are like 20 baht, I've only seen those a few times, and they've been very, very clean. And one of them, I think, was Mr. Liu. The Mr. Liu toilet was very clean. But, okay, so you're paying 5 baht, 10 baht, 3 baht, whatever it is. It's a pittance. It's very little money. It's like if I give a guy 20 baht on the street because he needs money, that's not very much to me. It's like, 70 cents or something like that. It's not a huge amount. It's not going to break me. Now, if I only got 20 baht in my pocket, well, then obviously that's a little different. But, I mean, I can always go to the ATM or whatever. That person may really need the money, and 20 baht might be able to feed him. But if you go into a bathroom and you're paying money, and then you go in and the toilets are dirty, they're clogged up, the sinks, the place is filthy, you're like, well, what are they doing with the money? They're just paying the water bill? Is that what they're doing? And they got some attendants sitting there collecting the money. So this is what I liken it to. If you're going to come into the country and you're going to have to pay money, which supposedly was for insurance, and is supposedly to help rebuild the tourism industry, what's the point of that? They're already charging you more money to get into the parks and everything like that. I paid more once for entry to a park. I could have left, but I had no problems with it. There is one place that I said, you know what, that's it. I'm not doing this. I told my wife, I refuse. Don't pay for me. I'm not going in. And that was, I think it was in Krabi. Was it Krabi? Or maybe it was Nakhon Si Thammarat. And it was this, I think it was Krabi. They have this fossilized rock that has all these oysters in the rock, and it's just a huge rock. I mean, it's, I don't know, a couple 100 feet maybe by a couple 100 feet, and the oysters are in the rock. The idea is that you go there and you check them out, and you go, oh wow, and there's the ocean right there, and it's a nice view. And it was like 200 baht for foreigners and 20 baht for Thais. And I looked out and I saw the size of the rock, and I went, you know what? I can't justify paying for this. It's not how much money it is. You know, because sometimes if I bitch, my wife will go, well, I'll pay it then. You know, and then I feel bad and I end up paying for it anyway. But like in this case, I go, listen, don't pay for it. I don't want to go here. It's a rock. They're charging me 200 baht to go walk around on this rock. And they're charging the Thais 20 baht, or it was free, I don't remember. And another time I went into a place and they just flat out, I said, listen, you know, I've been here for a long time, blah, blah, blah. I showed my passport, show them everything. Nah, sorry, you pay. And I went, no, I'm not going in there. Like, you know, my idea was, hey, you know, if you want to work with me a little bit, you know, like, hey, all right, I'll charge you the Thai price or whatever. I would have went, oh, okay. I would have, okay, no problem. But like when it's 5 or 10 times the amount, I just went, fuck this, I'm out of here. That's why I looked at the rock and I went, I'm not going on this fucking rock. And then I went back, what I did was I walked back, I went over to one of the little booths where they were selling stuff. They had like a row of little shops. They're just little booths. And I found a little coffee shop. And actually, I think Alex didn't go in. He didn't care. And I sat with him, had a coffee, he had like a juice. So I gave the money to those people. And the price was posted. So it is what it is, you know. So, you know, that you have the choice to do that. And, you know, but when you go into like a, you know, there was the place a while ago that I talked about. It's right down the street here. It's about 20 minutes away with traffic. Chok Chai 4. And they were like, I think it was no foreigners, or it was like foreigners have to pay more or something like that. You know, does that make me feel welcome? No, it doesn't. And if they want to have an attitude and say, no, I don't care if you're welcome, if you feel welcome or not, I go, okay, then I'll just, you know, you vote with your wallet. That's how you do it. And I forget who wrote it a little while ago here. They said, you know, eventually people won't come here. And there are a lot of people, I know people who are like, fuck the Thais, I'm not going in there because they're a bunch of cheats. That's what some people say. I'm not saying that. I don't think they're cheats. I think that they go for whatever they can get. That's their mentality. That's how. Listen, that's how women are here that work in bars. They're out to get as much as they can. Most of them, not all of them. I can never speak in. I don't want to generalize entire groups of people. I bought a concrete block. It's on my wife's ankle. Everybody has bad things to say about their wife. I'm sure I can find a few, but I'm fine. I like my life the way it is. You know, I'd rather have that than go into the bars, be looking around and going, you know, can I have my wife for the night? Train them right. I don't want to go in there because it's going to come off as misogynistic, and that's not how I mean it. I don't want to continue about that, but let me continue this. Coconuts says in the website, checked in with CASHAPP University's intercultural communications professor Ratchawit Potiyarach, who has thought long and hard about this topic. Here he answers our questions and makes some points that you may have never considered. There are two types of dual pricing, which I have thought about this: interpersonal and institutional. Institutional I've always thought about, and also I just thought private. I didn't think interpersonal, but institutional dual pricing is the practice of an institution such as a museum, attraction, or national park having clearly stated policies for charging different groups of people different prices. Places like the Grand Palace, which charges foreigners the exorbitant sum of 500 baht, while the Thais are charged with somewhat smaller sum of, well, absolutely nothing. Yeah, what is this here? That is a, God damn it, I forget my numbers sometimes. What's that? That's 20 baht, 10 baht. Yeah, so for, like, here's another one. This place, it's 10 baht for kids, 20 bahts for adults, but for foreigners, it's 100 baht for children, 200 for adults. Thank you very much there, Steve. Appreciate that. Appreciate it very much. Choke D to you. Keep them coming. Interpersonal dual pricing is when an independent seller charges different buyers different prices for the same item, and it happens on a case-by-case basis. This one is much more insidious since it feels, well, personal. And I gotta say that I was speaking to someone, I'm not gonna get into what it was or anything like that, but I was speaking to someone the other day, and it was about the prices that I was paying for a particular item and the prices that this Thai person was paying for a particular item. And she was buying in bulk, and she had a little bit better price than me. So I know I know I was getting the best possible price for the quantity that I was buying. I know because I bought these things over and over again. There have been times when I've actually, like my wife has went to a place and she's going, oh, I paid 200 baht. I'm like, really? I paid 180. And she's like, what? And then the next time she goes, tries to get the thing for 180, you know. And, you know, the other day I went into a place and they go, what did they say? What was the price that they quoted me? Let me think here. 600 baht. And I go, 600 baht? I go, no, 400. Okay, for you, I give you a good price, 400. I'm like, this is the price you always give me, you know. And the film on my phone, I get my film, like my film is cracked right now, so I'm gonna need to go and get it fixed because I don't want it to. I want it to protect the phone a little bit. You can get the film for as little as say 100 baht, depending on the type of film it is. But I try to get the same kind, the anti-glare, and it's a thick, really thick film. And they always ask for 400 or 500 baht. I'm like, no. I go to two places, and now they know me, so they don't, you know, I don't have to. They can't always remember what I'm supposed to pay. They go, what was it? They'll go, what's your price? What was the price you got? And I'm like, the lowest price that you can give me. And nobody, oh, no, what price you give it for? I go, 100 baht. Oh, no, not 100 baht. Because I think it's 400. I go, 400, no, 250, you know. Midlife hit. Well, I think I passed midlife. I forget, what was it that Billy said to me yesterday? He said, I'm tired and I'm old. And I said, well, I'm tired and I'm elderly. You know, by Thai accounts, I'm an elderly man. And almost by Western accounts, I'll be elderly in a few years. So I think I'm past midlife crisis. I think I've had my share of that though. All right, let's go on here with this thing here. Yeah, this is all right. Here's some good examples. Interpersonal dual pricing happens when a street vendor looks at someone and decides that for whatever reason they can and will pay more than their peers for a plate of sumtam. Well, there's one way around that. You go there when somebody is buying the sumtam, you see how much they fork over, and then when they go, oh, yours is 50 baht, and you go, the last person just paid 30. Don't try to play that shit with me. It also happens when a taxi driver refuses to use the meter or when anyone, anywhere, interacts with a tuk-tuk driver. I never use a tuk-tuk. Chiang Mai might be one of the exceptions. But when it comes to taxis, I don't get that shit. And I hear people saying it all the time, and I think it's a bunch of rubbish. Most of the time, the taxi drivers, they know they got to turn the meter on. And if you're there's an easy rule to stop that. Well, easy rules. One, you don't take a parked taxi. And if they don't like it, you tell them to fuck off. That's what you do, in a nice way. You don't use that word. If you ain't me, you're not going to be able to tell them to fuck off. I mean, and that's a joke, but I don't tell them to fuck off, but I tell them to fuck off without using the F word. Like, don't give me that shit, buddy. Special price for you. 100 baht all day. I take you everywhere. Yeah, right. So if they're sitting there at the hotel or wherever, don't take them. Like outside of Patpong, don't take them. Take a little walk. Go down the street. Stick your thumb out. Wait for a taxi to go by that is driving around. That'll save you a little bit. Second, if they don't turn them, you go in. Like, one thing that I do, a lot of people, it doesn't happen as much anymore. I've noticed it's decreased a bit, but a lot of times you start to get into the taxi and they're like, oh, where are you going? Hey, buddy, you're available. You either fucking want to drive or you don't. That's the law. When they are available, when they don't have anybody in there, they are supposed to take you anywhere you want to go. Within reason. I mean, if you say you drive me to Chiang Mai, I mean, obviously that may not work, but within the city limits, we'll say. You just get in. And if they start, oh, where are you going? You tell them where you're going. And if they go, 200 baht, you go, no. You turn a fucking meter on, pal. And again, you don't use the F word. You don't need to you don't need to swear every other word. You just say, meter, cop, turn the meter on. Like, I know, let's not fucking play games, buddy. It can even happen when you are looking to lease an apartment and how much you are charged in rent. Definitely. What's the problem with dual pricing? Dual pricing causes two kinds of issues for people, emotional and financial. It's hard for many foreigners, the most common victims of dual pricing, to make peace with the concept they need to pay more than other customers simply due to their ethnicity. You see, according to the professor, Asian tourists from outside of Thailand, such as Korean, Japanese, or Chinese, are charged the local rate based on their appearance, despite the fact they aren't Thai and can't speak a word of Thai. No, but they're Asian. Wait, isn't that racist? In a way it is. They make their judgments about pricing based on stereotypes, types, and racial profiling, said the professor. It's not in a way it is. It is. It's racist. Now, what's funny is that there was a woman a while ago who she made a post on Facebook. She paid 150 baht for some pat krapao moo krop, which is stir-fried pork with basil and pork belly. It's pork belly, stir-fried pork belly with basil, holy basil. She paid 150 baht, and she complained. And the vendor admitted that she was overcharged because the waiter mistook her for a Chinese tourist. Well, there goes the Asian equality theory. The vendor thought that she was Chinese, so she charged her more money. Now, that might have been 60 baht. So that tells you how much she's racking it up. Maybe 100, we'll say. Give her the benefit of the doubt. But she's charging her an extra 50 baht. 150 baht. What can people do to combat institutional dual pricing? In cases of institutional dual pricing and attempting to get a lower price, the professor suggests strategies for showing the staff that you are not a tourist. Some people have had luck with displaying a Thai ID, driver's license, work permit, or even local bank card to prove they are residents. Others have had success when they speak Thai and explain that they are not tourists and would like to pay the local rate. That happened to me when I was with Billy. at the ancient city. 700 baht. That was the price, and they've been very good because I always spoke Thai to them. I won't speak. I try not to speak any English to them. Just speak Thai to them and say, no, come on. I've been here forever. I got kids. I got this. I got that. And if they're reasonable, they know. Okay, I'll charge this guy the local price. Because if they don't, then I'm going to be like, wait a minute. They're going to charge me the foreigner price even though I live here, and I'm paying probably more money than the average Thai pays in a month. And, I got kids, and my kids are Thai. What's going to happen if my kids come with me? They're going to go, okay, you pay the Thai price, and this guy's got to pay, the Western price. So it just doesn't work, I think it is racist. It's racist as hell. And, many times you simply won't be able to negotiate with staff because they have no authorization to give you a lower price. I think that is how it is at some of the national parks. They have no leeway. It's like, listen, this is what you charge, and that's it. You better get the money. And I'm looking at a thing here of ticketing for that's the ticketing. I don't know where this place was, but students, Thai students get in for 50 baht, and apparently at a certain age they're 25 baht, and then adults 50 baht or 100 baht, foreigners 300. Alternatively, sometimes no matter what you tell them, they still see a foreigner who must pay the foreign rate. Yeah, this is the thing. We're foreigners. All right. So when somebody comes in America or Australia or wherever it might be, the UK, and somebody who looks like a Thai goes over, then why don't you just go, hey, you know what? Sorry, buddy, this coffee is not 100 baht. It's not $1 for you. It's $10 because your country charges 10 times more than my country. They would scream bloody murder over there. Look at. They're giving some of the people coming in, well, we separated your kids from you, and then, well, you were trying to come in illegally. What the hell? Why are we paying them any money? They shouldn't get shit. There you go. How can they deal with interpersonal dual pricing? Any of the strategies above might help you negotiate with an independent seller as well. Speaking Thai is the most likely way to get them to give you the local price for your plate of krapao or cup of iced tea. Well, usually the coffee places have the prices. They haven't shown. But speaking Thai there's a damn good reason for learning to speak Thai. Not only that, you understand what people are saying about you, to you, about a situation. If you'd rather not encounter interpersonal dual pricing at all, you can frequent businesses that don't employ the practice. You go to the mall here, the prices are what they are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you're from Nigeria or Japan or Thailand or Norway. Doesn't matter. You're going to pay the same price. Ride apps like Grab and Uber ensure you won't be overcharged for transportation, while buying food from vendors with prices on display ensures that your server won't rip you off for not being Thai. Rather than getting into a brawl with your local fruit seller, the best way to deal with a vendor that insists on dual pricing is simply to not buy from them. Yeah, what are you going to do? Okay, how much is that fruit? Pineapple used to be 10 baht. Somebody goes, oh, it's 40 baht for you, sir. You don't just punch them. Although, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, this guy's an asshole trying to charge me 4 times the price of for pineapple. But you just go, see ya, I'm out of here, bye-bye, and you lose the money. And this is the thing, when a taxi driver, I'll tell you what, I do remember a taxi driver a while back who said, "No, you charge, you pay me 300 baht or whatever." And I go, "No, you need to turn the meter on." "No, no meter." And I go, "Well, then you know what? I'm out of here, and don't fucking bitch about the prices. The next time that the taxi drivers start bitching about pricing, understand this is why. You're bitching about the price? Well, guess what? Turn your goddamn meter on, work a little harder, and stop bitching about the prices. Don't try to screw other people, because when you try to screw people out of their money, they don't take kindly to that, you know." Dual pricing makes me so angry. How can I deal with that? To deal with the emotional reaction to dual pricing, try thinking about policy logically, understanding why it's done, and remembering that it's not intended as an insult toward you personally. It's quite normal to have an emotional reaction to dual pricing. Victims report feeling singled out, rejected, judged, stereotyped, or even violated by episodes of dual pricing. Well, and I know this sucks, especially if you're out with people and you don't want to pay it, but you're kind of like, well, if I don't pay it, my whole family's going in and I'm not. When really what you're talking about is like $3 or something like that. But there are plenty of opportunities where you just go, fuck it, I'm not going in. They can kiss my ass, I'm not paying them any money. They're going to lose my money. And guess what? There are other people that they will lose their money for, and they're going to lose all these people's money, and then maybe it bothers them, maybe it doesn't. I can tell you that I went to places in Chinatown where I knew the price, and the Chinese vendor charged me like double. And I went, no. And they're like, you pay or you don't? I'm like, no, I know, I already came here because my wife bought it for this price. No. Okay, fuck you then. I'm out of here. You don't have to say that to them. You just think in your head, hey, you want to play games like that? All right, then fine. Then don't take my money. That's all. Try thinking about policy logically, understanding why it's done, and remember it's not intended as an insult to you. Yeah. Some of the underlying reasons for dual pricing are based on assumptions and stereotypes that all foreigners are rich. Well, that shows you the stupidity of some of these people. Because just because you can afford to, wait a minute, so a Thai person who flies over to America, they're rich. It doesn't mean they're rich. It means they got enough money to buy the goddamn ticket. Which is, let me tell you another thing that used to happen. Go into a disco, whether it's, say, or a club, Hard Rock Cafe, Nana Disco before. Go in dressed like me, wearing a t-shirt, pair of shorts, flip-flops. See how many, now unless you're extremely attractive guy or whatever, you're yoked and I don't know, the average guy, and you go in dressed like that, all right? Then go in the next night with a nice pair of slacks, a nice pair of shoes, maybe a jacket, and go in. You're wearing a Rolex or whatever. Makes a difference. They think you're rich. Now, that might be the only suit you have. It might be the only watch you have. It might be a fake Rolex. And they think you're rich. So, it's not even stupidity. It's people make assumptions all the time, It's not, Andy, it's not the money. It's definitely not the money, because for the most part, we're talking about fuck all. It's the continual practice of something that, in most Westerners' eyes, they view it as a bit fucked up. Hungry Hippo. Yeah, Hungry Hippo. Nobody's going to be complaining about the prices on their breakfast. The professor explained that it's assumed that many foreigners, whether expat or tourist, have lots of money. The reason to this for twofold in some ways make perfect sense. I'm sorry, I don't agree with the perfect sense part. as an expat, in order to secure a work permit in Thailand, you must make a certain amount of money each month, and that amount is far more than Thai workers make. Wait a minute, but if you have a work permit here, you shouldn't be paying 10 times more. And most people who come here they are not expats, they're tourists. So does that give them the right to charge 10 times more for the tourist? I don't know. I don't think so. So in that way, when an institution or vendor views you as someone with more money than a Thai peer, they may be right. Well, they may be right, but so what? As a tourist, the assumption is that if you live the sort of lifestyle that would allow you to vacation on the other side of the world, you must have money. So there are no Thai tourists. So how about all the Thai tourists? Everybody in the world where Thais go to and travel, the main tourism hubs where Thais go to internationally, how about everybody in those countries just says, let's bump up the prices 10 times for these Thais, because, hey, if they got the money to travel, these Thais must be wealthy. You know, because everybody in Thailand is poor, so these guys must be really wealthy. So let's charge them 5 or 10 times more for everything. I don't think that they would like that. Of course, the legitimate counter-argument is that even if it's true, a bowl of tom yum should have the same market price no matter who's it's being sold to. I mean, isn't like 1 baht of gold is the same price for everybody? You don't get a deal unless you're talking about the craftsmanship, but the market value of gold is the same everywhere. The market value of silver is damn near the same to anyone. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you're in Thailand, here, that price is going to be very, very close. And it depends on the store and everything and their pricing, but for the most part, same. I don't think that tourists should be paying dual pricing for most things, Andy. Some things maybe I understand, but an additional reason why locals are often admitted free or very cheaply to attractions such as temples, museums, and historical landmarks is because the government does not want them to miss out on seeing important parts of their heritage simply because they don't have the money to pay the admission fee. Okay, I understand that, but you know what? I can tell you that damn near all the Thais I know, they have not gone to near as many places as I have in Thailand. They have not seen. I know more about some of these Thai attractions. Longhorns knows more. I don't know about Jono. A lot of people who live here, the foreigners, they know a hell of a lot more. And guess what? That means that if they're paying 1,000 baht instead of 100, they're paying 1,000 baht at 10 places. Thais might be paying 100 baht or nothing at 2 places. So what good has that done? I understand that in theory it sounds good, but I don't think it works. The belief is that all Thais, even the poor citizens, have the right to visit these places and should not be penalized for having little money. Okay, I mean, I understand that. How should foreigners not react to dual pricing? And I agree with this. It's not worthwhile to get angry with the institutional staff that employ a dual price system. They didn't create the policy, and they may not even agree with it. Well, there you go. It doesn't do a bit of good to bitch and moan at the people there, because for the most part, they can't do anything. They're just sitting there going, they might not even understand you. We've all seen a foreigner shrieking at a blank face ticket booth worker who can do little to help them, and if they could, they certainly aren't going to after being shouted at. Yes. In fact, it's best not to get angry at any street vendors who use this practice either. The best thing is to calmly take your money and spend it elsewhere. It's that simple. I mean, I don't particularly like it in many cases, but depending on where it is and what the situation is, you know, I'll pay it, but there's a lot of times where I just go, I'm not going to pay 10 times more. If you remember, I went to Ayutthaya, the Ayutthaya Park, not Ayutthaya, Ayutthaya Park in Ayutthaya. I went to that place and they charged, I don't know, like 500 baht for me and 100 baht for Thais or something. And it says, oh, you can go around on the little boat. You get to take a ride on the boat. And I went on the boat, and then like an hour later or something, I was going to go back on the boat again. And they go, oh, no, you can only go on the boat once. I go, come on, man. You got almost nobody here. You have almost nobody here. I'm at least a domestic tourist. And you're going to tell me that I need to go out, pay for another entrance to go around on your shitty little boat that has like 3 people on it. And finally the guy goes, yeah, all right. He kind of understood, I mean, and I wasn't a dick about it. But, why are you surprised that Starbucks is still open? Curious to hear this logic. Don't they have any government department to involve dispute between customers and merchants like? Yeah, but you don't have those kind of problems most of the time, Steve. You don't have the problems. Here in Thailand, like if you buy something, you can go back within 72 hours, just get your money back. Well, you got the receipt and everything, and you haven't damaged the product. You can just get your money back. It's similar to that in the United States. As long as we are seen as walking ATMs, the dual pricing will never change. Yeah. Merchant may lose their business license if they do that in the United States. Well, they're not going to lose their business license here, at least not for quite some time. But because there are never any customers in the morning. Well, I think they know that right now there's not a lot of people that come here early in the morning, and this is a mall, so technically they're supposed to open at 6:30 in the morning. They open at 7:30, but at 6:30 in the morning, how many people are going to be driving to the mall to come and have a coffee at Starbucks? Especially or just coming to the mall and to have a coffee. There are other places where it's much more convenient. They don't have to park, they don't have to go across the street, they don't have to take a motorcycle or whatever to get here. There are places right down the street. So yeah, if this place was a drive-through, it'd be a hell of a lot busier. But once 11 o'clock comes, most of the time this place starts filling up. I mean, it gets full to the point where I go grocery shopping or I go run some errands, go to the bank, whatever I got to do. And if I come back here around 1 or 2 o'clock, the place is full. There's almost no place to sit. I'm sure it's all factored into the Starbucks system. Buenos dias. Sawati ton chao. Oh. Again with the Christmas music. Think about it. This is at a shopping mall. Everybody who is driving, they can't just drive, park their car, like in a little parking lot, run in, get their coffee. Like on my block, there are several coffee shops. You could just drive, stop the car right in front of the coffee shop, run in, get your coffee, come out, you get your coffee and leave. In this place, there's nowhere to park. You can't park right in front of the Starbucks. You got to go all the way back to the parking lot. So it's not a great place early in the morning, even Black Canyon Coffee across the way, the Black Canyon Coffee that I used to go to quite a bit, that's in a better location because there's people with song towels, people with cars. They can park there, they can walk there very easily, and they pass it up. And even that place doesn't do all that well. So, you got to remember, too, there's a shitload of coffee shops here. I mean, you can't throw a dead cat without hitting a coffee shop. Speaking of cat, my family is going through a little bit of stress right now. Not because of our cat. Sid is alive and well. He's turning out to be a great little pet. He's like a little dog, to be honest. He's just like a little dog. But Odie, our dog, has been looking rather frail lately. And I said to my wife, I go, how old is he? 13 or 14? I said, well, he's starting to really look his age. And then I noticed, he just didn't seem as spry. He hasn't been barking as much. And so then I said, you know what, let him in the house. We'll let him, because he's pretty mellow. He'll just chill out. He comes into the house and just plops down and just lays there. Just, give him some water or whatever. He drinks the water, he throws up. And then he's like sitting there after we clean everything up, and he's just kind of laying there, and he looks at me with these eyes, man. And I just went, oh man, something's not right. Because he looked at me like, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, or isn't there anything you can do for me, or, he just gave me these really sad eyes. And so I said, we got to take him to the vet. So we took him to the vet. He's been at the vet for the last 2 days. Well, today's the third day. He's on like an IV and getting medicine, and apparently he's got kidney problems, and we have to go today and figure out, is he going to be able to live a fairly normal life where he's not in pain, where he can function. He just doesn't lay there all the time because he can't move. And if we have to, we're going to have to put him down, which, he's been a good little dog, and just the sweetest dog. He's a bit neurotic, but he's been the sweetest dog. And I told my wife, I said, man, I hope he lasts another year or two, and he feels a lot better, So, and we used to have Lala, our little dog, and then before that it was Andy, which was like a little hot dog. I forget what those are called. Dachshund, kind of like a Dachshund mix, and he was cool. He died. Lala died. And it's going to be really hard on Nicholas, because that's Nicholas's dog. So, yeah, we're going through a little bit of stress there. So hopefully at lunchtime we'll know one way or the other what we're going to do. But I'm not looking forward to because I'm going to have to be the one who makes the call. And I don't want the dog to be in pain. I don't want the dog to, like all he can do is sit there. He can barely move. I don't want that. So, anyway, you guys have seen him. Generally, he's very, very active, and but I've noticed lately he hasn't been as much, and I guess it's because he's got kidney problems. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah, Lala is buried in our garden, but this dog's a little bit bigger, and I don't want to bury him in the garden. And sometimes they'll just throw their dog in the garbage, and I don't want to do that. So this is something. The longer he's at the doctor, the more we gotta pay, which, whatever. We're not talking about a lot of money, so it's fine. But if he can't get better, then I don't know what's the point of keeping him there, so. I don't want to think about it, really. To be honest, I think of those eyes looking at me, and it's just kind of like, like, the only way I can put it is he was looking at me like, something's wrong, can you help me? Or, this is it. I know I'm going, or I don't know how you can say it, but you know, it's not good. I'm, you know, the vet will take care of all that. I'm not worried about that really, but anyway, so you know, we have Sid, and hopefully Odie will be back home soon, but you know. And my wife and I we're gonna be going on a trip, you know, and I don't know, I may go to Phuket with her. I don't know, I'm not sure. After Chiang Mai, I don't know that I want to spend the money. She goes and it's paid for. I go, it's not paid for. I got to pay for it myself, you know. So I don't know if I'm gonna want to go down there. And I was just there, and I don't really care about what's going on there, to be honest. Phuket's. I guess I could go. I could go rafting there. I guess, you know. She's got her own things to do there, so it might happen. I don't know. We'll see. But you know, I don't want to be gone and the kids are like, "We found Odie today." You know. Anyway, all right. Let me get to this other article. Time to scrap the racist two-tier pricing system in Thailand. Let me make sure I finished this last one. Did I? Oh yeah, I did. All right, so time to scrap. Here's the argument for scrapping it. The Thai Tourism Authority of Thailand says it's eager to scrap the controversial two-tiered pricing entry system that currently is applied throughout the country. I do think that, I will say this, I think that if they're going to scrap it, I don't think there's any problem with the personal vendor, you know, the guy on the street. He wants to try to make an extra buck off the tourist. You know, it's a tourist's responsibility to know the price, to learn the price. It's not all that difficult. You know, you go to a place with your girl, and your girl knows the price, and then you go with her and you say, hey, you know, okay, I know the price. Or you try to buy it and they go, oh, 50 baht. And she goes, no, it's 20 baht, you know. But as far as the places like national parks and things like that, I think there's no place for a government that is trying to attract tourists and who is supposed to be super friendly, be saying, yeah, you know, we're really friendly to you. And what I've heard for years and years is the reason the Thais are smiling is because they got their hand in your wallet. That's the big joke. You know, they smile because they got their hand in your wallet. All right. Speaking at the Foreign Correspondent Clubs, when asked by blogger Richard Barrow, Taines Petsuwan, the deputy government for marketing communications at TAT, said that it does not make sense to charge foreigners more than Thais as they have all been doing for many years. Mr. Taines said TAT Governor Yuthicka Supason had recently spoken to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environments, the government department responsible for the national parks in Thailand, about the two-tiered pricing issue. Mr. Taines went on to say, while the country is waiting for the return of tourists, it is a very good time for Thailand to reform the tourism industry structure. What we did wrong in the past, we must make right this time, he added. He might have also added that this behavior is one of the many reasons foreigners come to Thailand and do not return. There you go. I mean, it's that simple. I know people that are like, what? They charge nothing for everybody else, but they charge 500 baht for me. I mean, you know, I do understand in principle what they're trying to do, but unfortunately, as I've said many times, perception is what is very important. And the perception of foreigners is that they're getting screwed. And of many foreigners, not all, of course. I don't want to generalize. But I know if some of my friends came over here and they saw that, they'd be like, what the fuck, man? You know, really, they'd be like, what's up with this? They, you know, and it's like if they went to go get a chicken and they were, oh, well, for Thais it's 50 baht, but for you it's 150. They'd be like, Well, that's kind of bullshit, you know. And then they'd be like, I don't like that. And, you know, that's how it is in many places in the world. And it's a reason why people don't go to some of these places. Now, for the most part, we're talking, like I said earlier, we're talking about fuck all. It's really not that much money. You could say it's the principle. And for somebody like me, the principle is important because I look at it like if I got into a taxi and I started paying 200 baht every time they wanted 200 baht when it's only 50, I'd be pissing away money for nothing, you know. And that's why some people will go, listen, if you're coming here as a tourist and you got a 73 baht taxi fare and you want to give them 100, have at it. Give it to them, whatever you want. It's your money. Now, for me, if I got 75 baht and that's all I got, I give them 75 baht. They don't have to give me the 2 baht back. If I got 80 baht, I give them the 80 baht. If I got 100 baht, I give them the 100 baht, and I expect at least give me back my 20 baht. And if they try to give me the change back, then I go, no, keep it. And you know why? Because that's what the Thais do. Anyway, let me go on here. The practice of two-tier pricing in Thailand sees foreigners, even expats who live and pay tax in Thailand, forced to pay much more than Thais to enter places such as national parks, museums, and historical sites. While some of the reduced entry fees for Thai nationals are the result of government subsidy, many two-tier pricing policies are simply in place due to the idea that foreigners can afford to absorb the higher prices and therefore should pay more. Many restaurants and shops do the same thing in tourist areas such as Pattaya, Phuket, and Bangkok. Taxi drivers do it throughout the lands. So, I'm going to put a poll up. Oh, speaking of polls, I'm going to put a poll up asking your thoughts on, your anonymous thoughts on this subject. I think it is an important subject. I don't know that they're going to change just because foreigners don't like it. If that were the case, they'd change all kinds of things. Foreigners would just complain and they'd change it. It's not going to happen. However, if they're low on tourists, and one of the reasons why that tourists don't come back is because of the dual pricing. You know, they want medical tourism, but yet they want to charge more money for the people coming in to the hospitals who are foreigners. Well, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? If you're coming here because the prices are lower, and and let's say that you live here, why do I have to pay 3 times as much as a Thai? And I've caught them doing that many, many times, and up until recently, I haven't had to, I never had to worry about it because I always just called them on it and they go, okay. All right, speaking of polls again, I released round 4 of the names for the rafts, for the raft. Those names were Freedom, See You Later, Leo Chiang Mai. For a long time now, which is just, and it'll be in Thai, Nan Leo. And the other one was Pai Dui Kan, which is let's go travel together, let's go together. And then the last one was Barista Queen. The name of the boat is the Barista Queen. Now, Barista Queen is the name that has received the most votes. I believe 15 votes. Freedom, Interpersonal, which is what many girls will say. Why don't you have a boyfriend? I like my freedom. Okay? Freedom. It can be freedom like I just want freedom. So I thought that was a good name. And then next is Pai Dui Kan, Nan Leo, and Leo Chiang Mai comes in last. So right now, the top names, so far the top 8 names are Chowderhead, which is number 1. Number 2 is Where You Go, which is Painai. Number 3 is Barista Queen. Number 4 is An American in Bangkok. Number 5 is Sabai Sabai. And then we have Freedom, number 6. And we also have Mai Pen Rai, number 7. And SS Farang, number 8. So those are the top 8 names. And I'm really anxious to go 50 baht, $2 catching cabs every day. Well, I mean, you know, I don't use a cab every day, and one of the reasons I don't now is because it's just too expensive. It adds up. You know, I use a motorbike to come over here, and I almost feel bad about that because it is kind of dangerous. Especially, you know, when there's a lot of traffic. But I can use the Songtao. Only problem with the Songtao now is there's only one Songtao. There used to be like 4 or 5 in my neighborhood, and there's only one. So you don't go, you're sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. It could be 45 minutes or you're waiting for a Songtao. I could have already walked and been home, you know. Don't know if you can hear that. A couple accidents this morning here. I voted for Barista Queen. Okay. So I think that's a pretty good name. I think that's actually better than Chowderhead. And I think I don't want it to be real. I really don't want it to be An American in Bangkok for a boat. But the other thing is that when I go, the reason I'm so anxious to go to Chiang Mai is because I want to talk to these people, because I've looked at some of the rapids and I don't know that if I had to go it alone, I'd feel real comfortable with a bunch of gear and everything else. I need to see where I stand. I know I can do the ones, the level 1, the grade 1, grade 2. I know I can do that. Grade 3, okay, I think I can get through that. But when you're talking about the more difficult ones, I need some more experience, and that's why it's going to take a little time to get all this done. And then that determines what kind of boat you have. I really would like to have a boat that has an engine on it, because if you think about it, I don't know how long. Janar, did you watch any of that? If you're still here, Gennaro, did you watch any of that? The guy going down the Mississippi River in the canoe? I forget how long it took him, but it took him a long time. But the Mississippi's a hell of a lot longer, a hell of a lot farther than I'm going. A hell of a lot farther. While I'm waiting for Gennaro's response, do me a favor. If you haven't got one of your an American Bangkok t-shirt or one of the other t-shirts I sell, go right down below and click on where it says get your merch. Go right down there, click on that, and check out all the t-shirts and coffee mugs I got. Bar Girl Lives Matter, Farang Lives Matter. And go check them out and maybe pick 1 or 2 up. Gennaro is no longer with us. Let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's still listening. He's disappeared. Anyway. Let's go on here with this thing here. Those against the practice of dual pricing. Actually, it's multi-tiered pricing. It's not dual pricing, because they have prices for Japanese, prices for Middle Easterners, prices for Caucasians. Those against the practice say it's not only discriminatory against foreigners, it is also largely futile, as many foreigners are put off by the fact they have to pay more, and therefore the overall number of foreigners to visit attractions where two-tier pricing is in place is greatly reduced. I don't know if it's greatly reduced or not, but I do think it is reduced. This means the attraction doesn't actually earn any more money and also gives foreigners a negative impression of the tourism industry in Thailand overall. I think some places people understand it, and I think that somebody had said that, like in the Grand Canyon, if you aren't a local, you have to pay more than if you are a local. Or, you know, if you're a foreigner, you're going to have to pay more money. So, yeah, so it also gives foreigners a negative impression of the tourism industry in Thailand overall. Well, hello, is the penny finally dropping now that there are no foreigners in Thailand and the people are suffering? Well, there's going to be foreigners. And people, supposedly, I don't know if I believe all the numbers in place here. Let's see here. Oh, that's what I was going to look at here. If I can find it. My 23-year-old bought a nice bag Solana for a $5 coin last year. Now $2.50. Your kids into crypto? No, I don't want to talk about crypto right now. No, they're not into it. Right now they're studying in school, and that's good enough for me at the moment. What happened to the, let's see here. I thought I saw the numbers of people that had come into the country so far. You know, now they're starting to talk about the long-term visa options for foreigners. You know, this is what I mean. They're talking about long-term visa options for foreigners. Well, hey, how about, you know, like, if you have a retirement visa, if you have an elite visa, if you have some of these things, you're working here, you have a B visa, you're married, you have an M visa, as a media visa, whatever it might be doing. If you have a long-term visa, how about you don't have to pay the tourist price? That I would understand. But I haven't seen it. Where are the numbers? Let's see. If I can find it, I had it earlier, and I don't know what happened to it. Let's see if I can find it here. Flooding, more flooding in Chao Phraya, Samut Prakan. Thai food. Oh, yeah, we're fixing it. The government responds to Thailand past complaints. Why is it they never get it right the first time around? Never. I don't think they've ever had a website that I've seen in recent years. I haven't seen one site go up that there wasn't a problem with. It's either you got to use one browser, you can't use them all, or whatever it is, or the security is bad, but they always have a problem. And believe me, Nicholas is studying cybersecurity. I have made this very known to him. Not that it really matters, but yeah, I haven't been able to find this. Vegas 3,000 on money, so I don't care. All right, let me see here. That's 8 days ago. What happened to it? It was something like, let me think here. It was like 20,000 a week. Yeah, 20,000 tourists in the first week, which I guess I don't find hard to believe. Pattayaa's stupid rules are ruining tourism efforts. Ridiculous disease control measures are undermining Pattayaa's efforts to rebuild tourism, the city's top business representative said. Bunanan Patanansin, president of the Pattaya Business and Tourism Association, said there is virtually no point in organizing festivals and events like Pattaya Music Festival if alcohol cannot be sold in the city and crowd sizes are unnecessarily limited. Attendance at the weekend music festival and hotel bookings in Pattaya both disappointed and can be blamed directly on overly strict disease control measures, he said. Wow. Only 150, what? Only 150 people were allowed into the gated stage area of each of the 3 music festival venues. City officials claim this was to prevent the transmission of COVID-19 by limiting crowd size, spacing attendees a meter apart, and prohibiting standing or dancing. Now, that doesn't sound very smart to me. And you know why? Anecdotal evidence. I'm at Tree Town. There was far more than 150 people sitting there next to each other and across from each other. There must have been 300 people, 500 people standing around, milling around. Nobody's got their mask on. So why is it they'll let them do that, but then they have an event and they can't have more than 150 people? That whole system of what they're doing there, where they're not letting people even drink at restaurants, even though, you know, they are. But legally and technically, they're not. So, what's the point of that? Well, I mean, listen, it doesn't really matter to me, but it matters in the sense that it matters to people in Pattaya, the people who have businesses. What are you going to do? You're going to ruin everything? Oh, you can't. What is it? What is this hard-on they have against people drinking? They're already shitty drivers. They're amongst the shittiest drivers in the world. Okay? The Thais are not, you know, I remember the Mark and Brian show back, you know, how long ago? Almost 30 years ago. They used to have a little skit about, you know, Chinese drivers being the worst. I don't know how Chinese drivers are, but I can tell you that the Thai drivers, just their statistics, don't put them in a positive light. Thank you, Gordon Gorman. That's not bad. I don't know if it's the best though. Jester World, no illogical logic. I did like that. I like that for a name of a boat. I like that name, but it's not doing very well in the poll. Where is it? 5% of 111 people. So that's like 5 or 6 people. 6 people, we'll say. That's not too good. Out of 111, 192, 292 minus 23 is 269. 269 and 37, 306 out of 306 votes. 5 people altogether, so that's not very good. Anyway. All right, let me go back over here. Read this. 150 people. Bunanan pointed out that everyone else saw and scoffed right outside the fences, people packed in with no attempted social distancing or crowd control. There was no social distancing in Treetown. None. There's no social distancing. The girls are sitting right next to each other and next to guys. People are packed. They're standing around in little circles. I mean, you know, a foot apart from each other, 6 inches apart from each other. It's ridiculous. It's just, yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? I could sit here and just, oh my God, I just don't understand it. The truly laughable thing, Bunanan said, was that current health regulations allow for crowds of up to 1,000 people. While alcohol normally is prohibited at music festivals held on public land, Bunanan said that the fact that restaurants and vendors near the festival sites are banned from selling alcohol also depressed interest in the concerts. Even though Chonburi province has once denied a PBTA appeal of the alcohol ban, Bunanan said the organization would try again, making its case in stronger terms. If the association's pleas are ignored, Pattaya should save the money and not bother with staged events because few people will come. Well, I could have told you that. All you have to do is walk around in the evening, walk around in the morning, and you're going to see that the number of people out is extremely limited. There was only really one area where there was a fair number of people, and that was the Treetown area. That was the area where we stayed. In that area, there was a fair number of people, especially in the evening. And you can see that in the video that I put up there. That's one reason why I put it up and I made it so long. Because no matter where you walk, it's the same way. The PBTA said it had met with Pattaya Mayor Sunthaya Kunplom about the music festival crowd size, and he admitted it was held under outdated rules. The PBTA said it wanted next weekend's festival to allow 1,000 people into the seating area and better organize the crowd outside. You know, one thing that is very prevalent in Thailand, and it's a recurring theme, is that their preparation for things is almost always full of errors. They constantly make mistakes. They put up a website, the fucking website doesn't work. They put up a website, it's not secure. They make a festival and they don't think that, oh, well, you know, we don't have that many people here. Well, what are you going to put the festival up for? You know, it's going to draw people in, not if there's nobody here. I mean, I don't know that there's many people who come to Thailand who say, I'm going to go to Pattaya and I better hurry over there because the festival's going on, because I want to have a great time, and yet there's no bars open. You're not allowed to drink unless you go to 7-Eleven and walk around with a beer in your hand. You know, the bars are closed. So how many people are going to come rushing to Thailand, and more specifically Pattaya? Riddle me this. I'm going to tell you, not many. Not many. Not many at all. Well, there is such a thing here as I don't want to say anything to anyone above me because my boss is going to get pissed off that I tell him he's wrong and then he's going to fire me. And he doesn't want to say anything to his boss because he's worried about being fired or being chewed out. And so then it just goes all the way up the ladder, and everybody just goes, cop, 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 ka, ka, ka. Government spokesperson said that efforts are underway to fix glitches with the Thailand pass system that have affected the system since its launch. Social media has been awash with criticism from both Thais and foreigners attempting to use the system. Many have complained about the delays in receiving the QR code required for travel, while others say they never received it at all. I mean, this is typical. And I can tell you at my kid's school, my wife, when she's waiting for her information from her company, not her company per se, but the government to give their company the information they need so that she can figure out when she was supposed to get vaccinated and all that kind of stuff. It's now once they get everything in place and they get it nailed down, they get it wired, then they seem to do everything very well. It's like the cookie cutter McDonald's approach. If you just threw them in there and told them start making burgers, they wouldn't know what the hell they're doing. Once you set them up with the system of making burgers, this one's a cheeseburger, this one's, then it becomes a little easier for them, and they do very well. That's the same thing with the vaccinations. They did very, very well once they got it set up. It's very organized. You don't have that many problems. Oh, Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister, has stepped in order to order officials to fix the system, which was launched to much fanfare and promises of a more streamlined application process. Yes, streamlined. If you don't get the operator error message, some people have experienced delays receiving their QR code because the system is unable to decipher the proof of vaccination provided, meaning it needs to be manually checked, which slows things down. In other cases, travelers have booked their first night in a hotel that is not linked to a hospital offering PCR testing. And this is why you just say, you know what? If you're vaccinated, you can get on the plane. The carrier is going to have to check that you are vaccinated, and that's it. You don't need to take a test. You don't need to know shit. If you want to learn to live with it, learn to live with it. We just go, this is going to be a part of our lives, just like the flu, just like the common cold. This is how it's going to be. Fuck it. Let's let everybody come in, and we'll take our chances. At this point, why not? You know, Andy, the way that it's looking now, I would just wait, man. I would wait. I would even wait. I would wait till past the beginning of the year, because think about something. Once the beginning of the year comes, and they have the New Year's celebrations, and the Thais are out partying, supposedly you would think there won't be any major problems, but there might be, because guess what? There might be a spike. The numbers might go, oh, everybody's together. Using their logic, oh, we can't let more than 150 people come into a music festival because we're worried about the virus. Oh, we can't do this, we can't do that because we're worried about the virus. Well, now guess what? If you're going to have New Year's celebration, people are going to find a way to party, and they're going to say, fuck you to the police. They're going to say, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That's what they're going to say, because you're not going to stop some of these people from going out and drinking their whiskey and celebrating the new year. Woohoo! Oh, yeah, baby. That's how it works. And guess what? If you follow their logic, that means that more people will be infected, and thus they may end up saying, oh, we're going to have to implement this restriction again. We're really sorry we opened up the restaurants and let them and let them allow people to purchase alcohol. But now, you can only purchase alcohol on Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. You know, I mean, Dallo, what's happening? I mean, like I said, I'm going to be going to Chiang Mai, and I don't want any hassles. I want no hassles. They give me any hassles, I'm going to be like, what is the hassle? Why am I being hassled? I think at some point what's going to happen is people will rebel. I'm not imploring people to rebel, but I think that's what's going to happen. Some of these restaurants, they cannot stay open. They can't stay open without the booze. And look how many places are closed up. I mean, the sooner that we go back to what it was like before the COVID, and you just go, are you vaccinated? Yes. Okay. And then you let the medical professionals determine, do we really need boosters? Is it going to be, are the numbers going to go up without the booster? Now, if they tell me I need a booster, I'll get the thing. I don't care. I'm not worried about it. I don't think I'm going to die. And if I do, I do. It's my time. You know, you got one person in this whole place. Or maybe two. There might be two over there. I don't know. That's it. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is now working with the Digital Government Development Agency. They got all these agencies and acronyms and all this stuff. And it's not only here, it's everywhere. It's too much now. To fix the system. The new system had promised immediate approval for travelers whose vaccination certificates immediate can be checked by QR code. In order for this to work, however, the country issuing the certificate must have provided Thai officials with the public key necessary to read the document. Well, since I was vaccinated here, hopefully that mine will work. Tanakorn said there are currently 30 countries that have done this, but the government hopes to increase the number, this number. Once approved, travelers will receive a QR code along with their negative PCR test. This tells airline check-in personnel and other screening staff that they've been approved to enter Thailand. Tanakorn says the checking of vaccination certificates will now take no more than 3 days compared to 7 days previously, which is compared to what they originally said, which is immediate approval. So from immediate to 7 days to 3 days. Thumbs up, Thailand. Hey, there's a name right there. I forgot about that. Thumbs up, Thailand. Name of the boat, Thumbs Up Thailand, yay or nay? Yeah, this has been a mess. Listen, we are humans. We're not as smart as we think we are. I mean, that's the truth. We're not as civilized and we're not as smart as we think we are. We think we're so far advanced, and I mean, in many ways we are, definitely, but in many ways we're just a bunch of idiots trying to, you know, what is it? I forget who said it the other day. I just saw it that politicians are like, what the hell is it? They're like, I forgot what it was. Shit. I wanted to remember that too because it was a great comparison. I mean, I don't doubt there's a virus, but this ain't Ebola. you know, and I'm not 80 years old, and I'm not, you know, I don't have all kinds of underlying illnesses. I may have my aches and pains, but, you know, 85% double vaccinated in Victoria. Next goal, 90%. When you get to 180%, then we'll let you go out of the country. You know. Yeah, it's the lizard leaders. Listen, the whole Joe Biden thing is just, I can't, I don't even want to look. Listen, I've stopped pretty much looking at Twitter. I only looked at Facebook yesterday because my buddy has been messaging me. So, you know, and I told him I don't look at it very much anymore because I don't want to. I don't want to see all the bullshit, whatever it may be. And the same, Twitter's the worst. I think Twitter is probably the worst out of all of them. But even Instagram now, it's like I go on to Instagram and all I see is, you know, Joe Biden shit his pants. Joe Biden, you know, couldn't remember. You know, he's talking in gibberish and he thinks he's, you know, reciting the Gettysburg Address. Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to take all this internet wisdom and I'm going to do everything that everybody says. I'm going to go get me some of that D3 and zinc. Listen, Twitter is shit. Okay? I'm going to say that. It's shit. I don't care how you curate it. There's all kinds of just nonsense on there. I don't want my balls getting burned. My testosterone's just fine. I never could understand that. You know, you go out and you're in some nudist colony and it's a hot day. Don't you worried about, like, I mean, I understand you. Maybe you burn your ass cheeks a little bit or whatever, but does anybody worry about, like, burning their privates? That's just a little bit too much. Twitter is just fucking awful, man. I mean, it's, to me, I don't even want to look at it anymore. At this point, I'm keeping it, and the same with Facebook. And I do it for one reason, that is because there are people that I contact through there, and I know I probably will never hear from some of them again, or I may need to find some of them or something like that in the future, and I don't want to lose track of some of these people. But then, on the other hand, I think to myself, well, you know, if they don't contact me through an email address and they're like, oh, well, I don't, you know, I've got his email address, but I don't feel like emailing. Well, then what the fuck's the point of keeping it then? No, it has nothing to do with me not using it properly. It has to do with the censorship and the bullshit. Okay, so listen, my opinion's my opinion. You think it's great if you curate it, yada, yada, yada. Good for you. I'm happy. Okay? I'm happy if you're happy. Okay? It's like happy wife, happy life. Good for you. God damn it. There we go. Everybody's coming in now. Say hello to my little friends. You'll let ISIS go onto Twitter, but you won't let the President of the United States. Is that the most idiotic thing that you've ever heard? No, I'm going to say this, JRD. If someone you're living with is happy, then believe me, you're going to have less problems at home. But if somebody at home is miserable and nasty, you're not going to have as good of a life if you stick around. That's all. I'm waiting. What was it that I was saying the other day? about telling people that are like backpackers. What the hell was it? That's why I'm always away. No, it's actually because we have our own lives. We have our lives separately and we have our lives together. You know, same with my kids. My kids have their own lives now, and that's the thing. When you grow up, what are you going to do? I'm going to keep them under my thumb all the time? No, they get their own lives. They can do what they want. They go out with their friends. They run around. They do their thing. You know, same with the wife. I'm just a firm believer. You let her do what she's going to do. If she's going to do something that she shouldn't, she's going to do it whether you badger her or whether you don't. You know. And I don't have time to worry about that shit anyway. Yeah, it's funny how the mainstream media doesn't go on and drone about how terrible this bullshit conspiracy is. You know, this is how it works. I think one way, you think differently. If you're the one who's got the newspaper, you put it out in your paper, and me, I'm sitting there going, oh, well, I guess I got to listen to your bullshit. Yeah, and I think some guys here in Thailand, I think some of them lose that. The smart ones don't, but I think there are some guys who, their girls, they got to be with them 24/7. You know, it's like every place they go, the girl is there. And it's like, I understand maybe, you know, you love her, you want her with you and everything. I understand, but like there comes a time when you're like, hey, you know, don't you want to hang out with your buddies once in a while? I'm not talking about all the time. I mean, you know, I made it clear to my wife. I said, hey, if you want to go to Chiang Mai with me, she had said she wanted to go a while ago. She wanted to go, and it was, she's like, I'll go by myself, or I'll bring one of the kids if you don't want to go, because she knows I'm not like, I like it, but it's not like my favorite place to go. I've been there enough. So when I say, hey, okay, I'm gonna go, do you want to go? And she says, yes, okay, no problem. You know, I do what I gotta do, she does what she's gotta do, we do our thing together. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've been married a long time. I don't have any of these issues, these big issues. You know, we have the issue of, you know, the little tiny issues. Stop putting this on the table and leaving it there. You know, that kind of shit. Will you put the toothpaste cap back on the toothpaste, please? You know, that kind of thing. That's about the only irritants we have. Here's Jose. I know right now that this stream has been demonetized now because of this song. Because it was demonetized the other day. Anyway, where was I? Losing my train of thought. Oh, is this it right here? Domestic tourism to recover next year. International tourism on the way. Domestic tourism in Thailand is expected to recover significantly in 2022 if there are no more major COVID-19 outbreaks, a research house said Monday. What research house? However, the level of tourism will still not match the pre-COVID levels in the short to near term. Didn't I say that? They could have just asked me. Prior to the pandemic in 2019, the country recorded about 173 million domestic trips, generating over 1.09 trillion baht of tourism spending. For 2020, domestic travel saw 91 million trips. The amount of trips in 2021 is estimated at only 67 million trips due to the prolonged effects of the pandemic, according to the CASHAPP Research Center. This is their go-to. They always go to the CASHAPP Research Center. Let me go on here. CASHAPP predicts 2 scenarios for Thailand's domestic tourism in 2022. The first scenario would see 155 million trips in 2022 if the pandemic situation constantly improves throughout the year. The pandemic and economic downturn will weigh on some groups of people in the first 2 or 3 months of 2022. CASHAPP said, explaining why domestic travel will likely stay below pre-COVID levels. The second scenario is that Thailand will face several outbreaks in certain areas, but officials will likely not impose tight travel restrictions like before. Well, that would be good. Learn to live with it. Maybe that's what the name of the boat should be. Learn to live with it. I gotta write that down. What was the other one? In this case, the number of domestic trips would drop to some 9 million trips for 2022. However, the potential effects of rising fuel prices, which might cause higher transportation costs, are not included in this study. What? On a topic of two-tier pricing, keep in mind that it costs 10 times to hire a hitman to take out a farang than a poor Thai. Yeah, well, even that price has risen over the years. When I first got here, it was something like 500 baht. That's not what it is anymore. Not that I know anything about that. Following the country's reopening, many research groups have revised up the economic growth projection for the year to grow slightly over 1% from the 6.3% contraction in 2020. We're referring to international tourism. CASHAPP expects the total number of arrivals from overseas for 2021 at 180,000, up from 150 estimated earlier, while the central bank predicts 200,000 arrivals. At 20,000 a month, we got November and December. That's about 20,000 a week. That's about 160,000. I dare say it may ramp up a little bit in the coming weeks. So 200,000 seems a fair estimate. Seems to be. Nonetheless, signs of recovery in the tourism industry would be evident from the beginning of next year, CASHAPP noted. Since the reopening date of November 1st, the government reported around 20,000 visitors entering Thailand, including all arrivals from Test and Go, Sandbox, and the quarantine method. The Test and Go scheme, in which visitors from countries on the exempted list no longer require mandatory quarantine, saw around 12,000 arrivals in the first week of opening. 12,000. All right, so of the 12,000 visitors, the United States accounted for the vast majority, with Germany and the UK coming in second and third. The reopening reflected a concerted effort among the relevant sectors in kickstarting Thai tourism following a prolonged slump. I don't know, 150 to 200,000 seems about right to me, assuming that things don't continue, assuming that things don't head downward, they continue upward. Hello, everybody. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Wherever you are. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to help support the channel. Very easy to do. All you got to do is go down below in the description. You can contribute through PayPal, CASHAPP, Buy Me a Coffee. You want to buy me a coffee? Very easy. There's a link, buymeacoffee.com/ /Scott Mallon. Become a Patreon patron. Use cryptocurrency. Become a sponsor on YouTube. Purchase one of my books. Purchase some merch from my shop. Check out my Amazon shop. Doesn't cost you anything there. Unless, you buy something from Amazon, then that stuff costs you. Doesn't cost you anything additional. So there are a number of ways that you can help. And, the more you help, the more I do, which is the more I show. That's about how it works. The more you know. Let me see here. Where are we? Now, while at the same time we've got all this going on here, government officials are meeting to discuss long-term visa options for foreigners. They're not talking about long-term visa options for the average, everyday Malin like myself. They're talking about the people with the big bank. What is this? You need XRP accounts, Scott. The others have fees way too high. I don't even know what XRP is. No idea. God damn it. Let's see here. Well, that's not going to show. No idea what an XRP is. Listen, it's very simple. There's already too many ways to transfer money. I've talked about this a long time ago. I mean, I wish I could just go, hey, you know what? Just click that button right there, and if you want to become a member, it's $4 a month. There you go, boom, and that's it. I don't have any others. All that money comes to me from one place. It doesn't come from PayPal and the CASHAPP and the Google money and Apple money and Amazon money, and there is none of that. That makes it too damn difficult. A government spokesman says the Thai Prime Minister has met with several members of his cabinet to discuss long-term, I can only imagine that, long-term residency options for foreigners. I mean, I would love to be a fly on the wall there. Thanakorn Wangbunkhongchana says Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha is currently in talks with a number of ministries and relevant agencies as to how to attract more foreign investment to the kingdom. If I were to wager a guess, maybe reduce some of the duties and taxes, import fees, and be even nicer to foreigners. I'm talking about the Thai government. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the government. Nicer as in nicer. Although I will say that at immigration, anytime I've been to immigration, like I said before, I've only had one time where they weren't all that nice, and that was not necessarily because I think it was just the guy had a bad day. All right, let me go on here. The Bangkok Post reports that the Prime Minister met yesterday with Deputy Prime Minister Supathanapong Punmichao, Interior Minister Anupong Paujinda, Finance Minister Arkom Termpitia Paisit, Customs Director, man, this is Customs Department Director General Pachara Anuntasilpa, and members of related agencies. Tanakorn says the officials discussed various long-stay visa options aimed at highly skilled professionals and wealthy investors. The cabinet recently approved in principle 2 draft regulations related to the visas. Now, I don't know that any of this is going to help. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how will it help. How will it help? Because if a guy really wants, all he's got to do is go, hey, you know what? I want to get myself an elite visa. You know, a couple million baht. Don't have to worry about anything for 20 years. Well, what's the point of all this? You really going to invest? I don't know how many people want to invest in Thailand. I guess, you know, there are some very good reasons for investing here, but I'm trying to think of, and I'm not an investor. I don't have millions of dollars to invest, and I don't know. I think Thailand has to be very careful. They don't want to end up like the Philippines, where the trust level of the people who want to invest there, the trust level is extremely low. And the only reason I say this is because a lot of people have told me that about the Philippines. You're going to start a business in the Philippines, you better have a Filipino. Like, it better be a small business where you don't have millions of dollars on the line, because if it is, you're going to have a hard time. And that's why a lot of businesses pull out from the Philippines, because it's such a pain in the ass to do business there, and the tea money necessary is required on a consistent basis. So I don't know that this is going to work. Listen, what do I know? I just don't. If I was, I'm basing it on my gut feeling. I don't think it'll work. At yesterday's meetings, officials also reviewed visitor numbers since Thailand reopened with minimal quarantine for vaccinated tourists from approved quarantines. Since the November 1 reopening, over 20,000 foreign visitors have arrived. According to the Bangkok Post, Tourism Authority of Thailand had previously forecast an average of 300,000 arrivals every month between now and the end of 2021. What does that tell you? 300,000 a month, and you get 20,000 in 8 days? I think their targets are much too high. Meanwhile, and their opinion of their country as a tourist destination, although it is a great tourist destination, I think their opinion may be a bit high of their country. Meanwhile, Dr. Apisai Srirangson from the CCSA says out of the 22,832 who've received in Thailand since the beginning of the month, just 20 have tested positive for COVID-19 so far. Most arrivals are from Germany, the US, the UK, Japan, and South Korea. The policy will allow fully vaccinated tourists to get into the country without quarantine, which will benefit the economy and enhance public health security. Yeah, but you see, this doesn't tell me, this is a terrible article. Sorry, the Tiger. All this is that the government officials are meeting to talk about this. There's no specifics. And this is basically just going, oh, well, this many people have come in. This is going to help us. These are all tourists. This is not about investors. There's nothing in here about investors. This is the Bangkok Post article, not the Tiger. So I don't mean to put it off on the Tiger, but this is a Bangkok Post article. And the Bangkok Post, in my opinion, has the quality of the Bangkok Post has dropped over the years. Just my feeling, just my opinion. I don't want to state it as fact. I don't know. I think that this country is very lucky that there are quite a few knuckleheads, chowderheads, who are desperate to come here. I can't wait. Oh my God, my girl is there. Your girl, she ain't your girl anymore. In fact, she don't even live where, you don't even know where she lives anymore. You know, that kind of thing. I think there's a hell of a lot of that going on, and once that mellows out, unless they remove some of these restrictions, which in all honesty, they're not that bad. That I don't view the insurance as all that bad. 50 grand, you get that with a travel insurance, it's not gonna cost you much. You need to have that. Anybody who takes a trip anywhere, I mean, I think the vast majority of time I've ever traveled, I always had travel insurance. Very few times did I go anywhere without insurance. But 50 grand is not that much. Now the next thing is, okay, you got to go through this system and do it. Australia is not that easy for people to get into. You got to go through a bunch of hoops. All right, so now you got to take the test. And if you test positive, that doesn't bode well. But so if you test positive anywhere, I mean, anywhere's they're either gonna quarantine you, self-quarantine you, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That's the big negative. And then the other is that there's no bars open, which is not a huge thing to some people because they don't drink. And then the mask, wearing the mask out in public. If you look out here now, everybody's walking by with a mask on. Listen, I gotta get something to drink. I'm thirsty. Hang on 1 second. I think you're right, Andy. In the meantime, talk amongst yourselves. All right. Thank you, Mr. Dowlow. Buy me a coffee shortcut. I am so surprised. Well, that's the thing, but they have to get rid of the. Thank you, madam. They have to get rid of the test to get rid of that 1 day quarantine, and they're not going to do that for a little while. But once they do that, then I think it's easy peasy, you know? I don't know who that is. Yeah, see, this is really weird. Talks begin on long-term residency offer for foreigners. All they did was say, these people are talking. That no specifics, nothing else. These people are talking. Okay, really poor article, extremely poor article. That's why I'm saying the test itself, the test is a big thing. No bars open for many people is a big thing, even though it shouldn't be. I mean, you can always go to 7-Eleven and get a beer if you need it. Drink it inside your hotel room. What's clickbait? Well, for some people, they will come. I mean, yeah, but really, do you need to come to the country just for the women? I always look at the women as the icing on the cake. That's all it was. They were not the main reason. And they shouldn't be the main reason. I mean, if you just want to, bust a nut, but what do you need Thai friendly for? If you're smart and you're clean and you speak a few words of Thai and you got a little bit of money, it's not all that hard, gentlemen. Actually, I think it was just a shitty article. Either way, it was a shitty article. There we go. I bet she's glad to hear that. I mean, yeah, I don't mean to belabor the point, but the vast majority of people who watch my channel tend to be from about 35 and up. With the vast majority, I think 46 to 54 or something like that. And then a little bit less from 54 to 65, and then even less for the older people. Most people are a little bit older that are watching this channel. They are either married, or if they're not married, they're not necessarily looking to get married. So I do understand they want to come over. They want to have a little action. They want to, have their fun, have their little roll in the hay. Say goodbye, and that's the end of the problems. There are no more problems. There's no dating, I understand that. But it's not the only thing. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, if that were the only thing, I would have no life. And believe it or not, there are some things to do besides just sit in Starbucks or, drink coffee. Should have got a coffee instead of a water. There's plenty to do. And some of these people, and I'm talking about people in the stream, they've never even been here. Or they've been here one time. They've never left Bangkok. So why not venture out? Why not go somewhere else? And guess what? You might just bump into some chick and go, oh, well, she's really helpful. Oh, she wants to be my tour guide. It is possible. And I would say that I would say that, if it's not possible, then you got alternatives, which is a good thing about Thailand. But the bars alone are not a good reason to come here. Watch, she's gonna try to go out. Cannot. For me, it's the adventure. It's the not knowing what's gonna happen. You know, even when I was single, when I come over here, I would think, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna, like I would get here and I'd be tired and I'd sleep in. And all right, let me just take a little walk around. I take a walk around. I go to some bar. I'd sit down. Some girl would come up to me with a cold towel and start massaging me. And then I'd be like, oh, wow, this is all right, okay. And, have a beer, maybe, have a little fun, maybe decide to leave and go somewhere else. And in the beginning, you do all the tourist things because there's a reason why tourists want to go see the places. You go see most of those places. And then when you get a little more experience and you've been here longer, you go to a few places. I think everybody should go to the ancient city at least once. I think everybody should go to Pattaya at least once. Everybody should go to Chiang Mai at least once. Phuket at least once. Pick an island, any island. Could be Koh Kut, could be Koh Samui, could be Koh Chang, could be many of these places. There's so many places you can go. Pick an island. Go to one island every trip you come. What are you gonna tell me? You gonna tell me you go to some island and there's no girls there? You go out, you go hang out in the little tiki bars on the beach. You meet people, you talk to people. At night, you hang out, you have some fun. Eventually, things happen. So I still think people should wait until after the new year. That's just my opinion. There's all kinds of. Listen, go to Hellfire Pass. Go to Kanchanaburi. Go to Sukhothai. Go to Ayutthaya. Go at least once. There's so many things to do. Go to Bunkan. Go up on the side of the temple, on the side of the mountain, and go walk up there and, try not to fall off the wooden planks. There's all kinds of stuff to do. Yes, I have been there mostly in the beginning. I haven't been there in many years, but I've been there 5 or 6 times. I don't know why you want to rent a car, to be honest. I do understand, but then again, you can always take a train. There's plenty of ways to get around down there. Very easy, very cost effective. But, I know people like to drive the car and all that, but I haven't even talked about Hua Hin, Krabi. I think everybody should go to Railay at least once. But I don't know what Railay is like with all the tourists. I liked it when I was there. I think everybody should go to Khao Lak at least once. God, I've already named about 20 places. And, there's Nong Khai, there's Nan, there's Chiang Rai, there's Mae Hong Son, Mae Son. There's all these places. You got plenty of places to go. And I would say if you got a little bit of game and you carry yourself a little well, and like I said, you're clean, you're not a complete groat, you might end up, meeting a couple of women along the way, and They might just be your friends, or they might be, friends with benefits, or, might be two ships passing in the night. The good thing is that, most Thai women are not all that uptight about things, and if they really were into you, you know, you might take the relations to another level. I don't know. You don't have to. I don't know why you would rely on a tuk-tuk. Nowadays, there are grabs just about everywhere. Even in Hua Hin, Prachuap, I never had a problem getting around. Even in Hua Hin, I didn't have a problem getting around. Very easy. If I don't know. I don't think it's like because I speak Thai and all that. I think it's just if you know some of the ropes, it's really easy to get around. I took the train all the way down from Bangkok to the border of Malaysia. That was a piece of cake. I could have stopped off if I wanted. Stop off, you just jump in a taxi or a song town, go where you gotta go. Piece of cake, man. That's why I don't rent a car. That, because I haven't driven in so long anything other than a motorcycle, I'd be like worried that I'm gonna crash. I ride a motorcycle better than I ride a car, drive a car, So, just a quick yes or no. Will the two-tier pricing ever end? Yes or no? Will it ever end? Yes, it is very conservative. But that doesn't mean that, things don't happen. Especially when you're dealing with older Thais. Now the younger Thais, that's a different story. And to be completely honest, I don't really know all that much about them now, how they are now, aside from what I've been told. Gennaro, don't get your panties in a bunch. Same people come all the time. I definitely think that anybody here, if you live here, you need to go out of the country once in a while. Provides a necessary break, and you do really appreciate the place once you come back. If I went to Singapore or Cambodia, you come back and it's a different vibe, it's a different feeling. For the most part, when I come back here, I always appreciate it. I come back and it's like, oh man, it's good to be back. Yeah, I don't know about the whole driving thing for me. I haven't driven a car in like 30 years. I've just driven motorcycles, that's it. And I don't want to drive a motorcycle now because if I go down, I'm worried about what'll happen if I go down. And that does happen. it's still like that, with the exception of this last 2 years. So the good old days, 2 years, I mean, what's Cambodia like compared to Laos? More developed, better English. I mean, that's what I remember. The food is better in Cambodia. The food that I had in Laos was not good. I mean, I remember going to a pizza joint and I just went, oh my God. Stuff was terrible, you know. Very nice people, though. And Vientiane, you know, very poor. I mean, but that's what I remembered about Cambodia up until the last few years. It's been a couple years since I've been to Cambodia, too. But, you know, I've been busy. I went to other places. I went to Vietnam. I went to Hong Kong. I went to Macau. No, not Macau. Bali. Back to the States. Oh, you got to get a dash cam. That could save your ass. I mean, you know, Laos has its own charm. I wouldn't say don't go there. Go there and figure it out for yourself, man. You know, you didn't enjoy Cambodia. I don't know why. You know, I guess it depends on what you're there for. You know, already invested in one. In one we'll be taking with us on. Yes, I had a front and a rear in my car when I lived there for sure. Anyway, I recommend going at least once. Go and check it out and see what it's like. Don't take my word for it, you know. I mean, I wouldn't not go to a place just because one person said don't go there. But if a bunch of people said it's not where you should go, probably a good chance that, you know, you might not want to go there. And I would be careful driving here. I would be very careful, you know. Careful driving, careful who you get involved with when it comes to Thai women. Because like I said, you don't know the whole backstory. And that takes time. You know? It could be a freaking nutcase. And you're like, oh, she seems so sweet. And then you say, you gotta go, I got shit to do. I don't want you here. And then she gets all upset and, you know, tries to slice your tool off. I mean, I've driven motorcycles here and in Cambodia. Where else? And never had any problems with them. I just don't trust myself now, because if I went down, it'd be a major ordeal if I go down, crack my hip open, you know. It's a little different when you get older going down on a motorcycle than when you're younger. And I just, first of all, I don't want to have to worry about the expense. I don't want to have to worry about, you know, the insurance. I don't want to have to worry about, am I going to die? I don't really care about it as much as I used to. It used to be, that's all I rode was motorcycles. It was great. Anyway, I think we're about done here. not much more to talk about. Let me see here what the numbers, if they've changed though. Couple more votes. Seems like Barista Queen, Where You Go, and Chowderhead are the 3 top names for the I don't think it's going to be a kayak. I can't see it. I can't carry enough shit in a kayak. So I'm going to say canoe or raft, but I think raft. Here we go, some jingle bells. All right, so I believe my trip is going to be in another. Why is this not working? Can't get the calendar to come up on my computer. I believe it'll be in about another 15 days. So that's not too far off. I got to push the wife to get the tickets, and you know. Yeah, I may stream tomorrow. I might stream walking around. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because now there's not a whole lot going on right now. The place is opening up. The only thing is, okay, now the bars are open. Okay, now there's no test. Big deal, you know. Well, yeah, that's true, but that was true in Vietnam as well years ago. It was a big pain in the neck to go to a hotel room. If you wanted to go to a hotel room with a Vietnamese girl, you had to go to special hotels. I mean, it's been a while, but that's how it was. So, I would say just go. If you're an adventurer, just go. Just go. If you're, meek and timid and you're like, oh, I don't want to go through that shit, then don't go. But, if you're in this stream, chances are you're the adventurous type. Thumbs up, Laos. Thumbs up. If you're going there just for women, I would say no. Don't do that. I would say no. I know a little bit about that as well, and the only thing I found when I was there is that I felt bad for some of the people because of how poor they were. I felt really bad for some of them. And you don't want to get involved in that, and you get their hopes up, or they think, oh, if I do something with this guy, he's gonna love me, and we're gonna get married, and like I said, icing on the cake. That's all they are, icing on the cake. They just, you get the right one, great, but otherwise they're icing on the cake. They're your warming system in your bed. They keep you warm at night, and don't think too much. Dirt biking, drink, and a bit of hokey pokey does me. Hokey pokey, hanky panky. All right, well, that sounds good. Good. Don't be a chowderhead, All right, we're now around to back to this is like the third time I've heard this song now. So, anyway, boys and girls, I think it's about time to say goodbye. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to contribute in one way or the other. Last couple days have not been very good for me with the numbers, and I'm not only talking about financially, but the numbers, they haven't been great. But you know, who knows what the I try. I look at them and I go, oh, that's great, but I can never figure it out. I just kind of guess. You know, you throw up a walk where I don't speak, and they tend to do better than some of the other videos I put up, which I never can understand. So anyway, that's all I have. Until next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok with all 5 people and 2 staff in Starbucks. That's it. Not many. I'll talk to you guys later. Chokdi, Chiang Mai, all that good stuff. And don't forget to vote on the name. Go to the community tab of my channel and vote on the name. If you've got a name, put a name down in one of the polls that I put. There's 4 of them. Put your name in there. And if you put something stupid in, I won't put it up. You know, it needs to be somewhat classy and like work. So, anyway, yeah, arrivederci, all that good stuff. Chiang Mai, and I will talk to you guys later.